Conversation, where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Hi, my name is Daryl, and I'm a veteran.
Hey, I'm Travis. I'm an Air Force veteran.
Hey, my name's Jonathan, and I'm a veteran.
Hi, my name's Ashley, and I'm a veteran.
My name is Chad, and I'm a veteran.
Well, hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Conversations with a Vet. I have a wonderful guest waiting for you in the wings. But before we get started, if you have not already, please go ahead, like, and subscribe this content so that you don't miss any interviews with veterans. My next guest who's waiting he is with Montana Warriors on the Water. So please help me welcome Billy Hoverson.
Hello.
Hello.
How are we doing tonight?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, I can't hear you.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Oh, hang on. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
You can hear me, but I can't hear you. Interesting. Well, let's try something else. These were working. Let's take these puppies off. Hang on.
How about now?
All right. Go ahead and say something now, Billy.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, hang on. Let's see. All right. I think
How about now?
I got you now.
There we go.
Great. It's like my headphones my earbuds just clicked off.
Testing everything pre-show, and then that happens, right?
You're having a great conversation. So thank you so very much for agreeing to come on the channel. And, to put it out there, I know that you are not a veteran, but what you do is specific for veterans. So thank you for that. And I want to go ahead and start off the conversation with you like I do with all of my guests. And that is to ask you to tell us a little bit about who Billy was as a child.
Oh, I guess just about as average a Montana kid as you can ask for. Just a fat little school kid that grew up in eastern Montana. My dad was a Korean War vet. My parents were actually pretty agey when they had me, so it's kind of odd. I believe my dad was 46 and my mom was 40. So I got a lot of siblings that are actually in their 60s. I'm still a couple years away from turning 50, but
Still a youngin'.
Yeah, pretty much. Anymore I like to say that. But I grew up in Miles City. I had family north of Miles City in Jordan, Montana. We spent a lot of time out at the ranch. My dad was a day worker when it comes to cowboy and herding sheep and things like that. And time went on and I got a little older. I got into rodeo. That was kind of my main sports. I did all the sports in high school and grade school, like wrestling and football. played a
So
little basketball and things like that. But
let me ask you this. So could you explain? Now I know because I have lived in Montana. I have been to Miles City, Jordan, all of those. Explain to the viewers and what the countryside looks like there versus the west side of Montana.
well, we're more high desert region. We pretty comparable with, honestly, by looks, West Texas, a lot of Arizona, Wyoming, things like that.
Some
My side of the
Nevada.
state, yeah, we got a few pine areas on this side, but for the most part, all I can say is we do not look anything like the TV show Yellowstone.
Right. Exactly right. And I wanted to say that out loud. I wanted to make sure that everybody understood. So, there are parts of Montana that are not what you would expect. So depending upon, where you're headed to, where you're going.
Yeah.
So yeah. And it is quite different. Um, being where we were, which was not quite centered, but close where when we lived there and of the state. So it's interesting to see both sides of it and see such a significant difference in the landscape.
Yeah. And I mean, just like where you lived, you can get in an outfit and drive about an hour, half hour, and you'll be in a completely different landscape. You can be in the pines, you can be in the sand dunes, you can be at the river by the lake. It's just unbelievable where you can see different scenery around here in such a short period of time.
Yeah, it's crazy. But going from like east to west or west to east of the state takes forever.
Oh yeah.
Crazy.
I went on vacation one time and kind of hung out with a gentleman from Texas, and he was bragging to everybody that have you ever been to a state where it takes you all day to drive across and things like that? I was like, yeah, I come from one. We figured it out one time. It's actually faster to drive to Texas from where I'm at than it is to get up in the far right hand corner or far left hand corner of Montana.
Right. Yeah. It's pretty funny how that works. But
yeah.
So you started rodeoing, and how did that go for you?
It went good. My dad was really into rodeo, and it took me a long time to actually show interest in it, and it all kind of came at once. And I was really very blessed to have the individuals in my hometown that I did. I mean, I had world champions around me all the time. Great coaches, great people. Everybody supported it. A lot of tight rodeo families. I got people I consider my adopted parents still to this day that took me on the road with them and the horse trailers and whatever rodeo. And I mean, I did the youth events, and I kind of got into bareback riding. That was kind of my specialty, I guess, and rode a few broncs here and there. And it progressed. I did it into my early 20s and got to a point where I realized I'm not built like I should be for a bareback rider. I was pushing 180 or something like that when I was 21, and kind of just started looking other directions. And a friend of mine got me hooked into kind of a peculiar rodeo event that nobody really sees a lot of on TV, and that was wild horse racing. And we ended up doing about 20 years worth of that, and we traveled most of the western part of the country hitting all the bigger shows for that. And I really enjoyed it. It was fun. And I finally got to an age where I mentioned I wanted to get a boat, maybe hang out by the lake. My wife says I'm going to have to give up rodeoing if I'm going to do that. And so I believe it was about a year later that I called her quits.
Oh, goodness. And so that's a long time to be on the circuit.
It is. And my wife rodeoed too. And that's how I met her. She was going to college here in Miles City on the rodeo team. And all coaches had been my coaches for years. And so she was used to the lifestyle. So that worked out. I also played music part of the time, and so we understood the road together. So we had a mutual respect about what we did, and that's kind of how it worked. Is that we grew up, both of us living that lifestyle, so it wasn't really a big change when we did it.
Right, right. Which is good.
Yeah.
So you said your dad had been in the military?
Yeah, he served in the army during the Korean conflict.
Okay, all
And
right.
so it was he really never spoke a lot of it. He loved showing me pictures and telling me stories about it, and it was fun listening to him, but he really didn't get in depth about a lot of things. I think he told me one story that was a little bit on the side of nasty as far as being in something, but most of the time he kind of kept that stuff away from me. He didn't really talk about it.
Yeah, that's not uncommon for veterans.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's not something they really want to talk about, and that's why, you know, shows like mine are so important. One, to get them to talk, to help get it out, get them out of their heads, get the thoughts out of the head, and really speak them, and as opposed to just thinking about it all the time, and
Yeah.
helping them to kind of let go. And two, because we're all getting older, and soon certain stories from certain generations of veterans are going to be gone for forever.
Yeah.
uh,
I can say that right now. It's since I was a little kid, seeing the change in age group when it comes to military. Like I said, Dad was in Korea. Watching movies like Rambo and things like that. Now, if you go hang out with a Vietnam vet like they were portrayed in the movies, we're talking older fellas like one would think World War II when I was a kid.
right.
So
Yeah.
it's really weird seeing the progression when it comes to age on a lot of the individuals involved with the military.
Yeah, absolutely. So you get your boat, and what happens for you next?
So I mean, I tried to. I'm pretty competitive, so we went to fishing, and then pretty soon we were doing tournaments and things like that, and just enjoying the lifestyle. And it it just seemed perfect for me. I guess that's about it. It just became my summer hobby for the most part, and I really enjoyed it. And as well as anybody that we're pretty limited up here unless we head south for the winter. That we've only got about 4 good months of boating.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, unless you're diehard like me, and still go kind of not quite the winter, but where it's still a little chilly. So tell me then, okay, so you're boating, you're doing tournaments, and what is it that makes you, how do you meet or get involved with Montana Warriors on the Water?
So I don't know. It's a pretty long story, but I got burnt in a basically grease fire, kitchen fire in 2000. Oh, I believe the fall of 2014 is what it was,
Wow.
and ended up in Salt Lake for about a month. I had some skin grafting. I think it was something like 22% of my right side of my body. Uh, Laid up in there quite a while, and for anybody that's been involved with something like that, it's not like a broken bone or anything. It actually takes about 3 years if you're able to heal from something like that.
Yeah.
And so you feel down or whatever. And I wouldn't say that has much to do per se with my involvement with the organization, but my cousin that lives in Salt Lake, he's actually city planner for one of the small areas around Salt Lake. And he was the one that checked in with me daily to make sure everything was going right and took care of me and everything. Came in, told me a few stories. He was actually in the military, SF, even in the reserves, and spent a lot of time over in Middle East in his livelihood. And it was pretty inspiring to just hear some of that stuff. And of course, when you get out of the hospital and now you got to go through deep winter, you still got 3 or 4 months before you can really do much out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be back then, it was about June, I suppose. It might have been a little earlier when I got the call. A couple of the gentlemen that helped organize Montana Warriors on the Water gave me a call asking if I could come out and help with setting up sound equipment, maybe play a little bit music wise at a little event that they were having at Hell Creek. And I never really asked a lot of questions. It's kind of business as usual. So I said, yeah, I can make that work. And they gave me a little bit of intel. Patton and Goff, for anybody that's unaware who they are, during war times, they were a big hit on YouTube for doing their own thing. It was two gentlemen in the Army that played guitar and sang, and they put out a bunch of videos, and it went viral for quite a while. And they were actually guests on that trip, and so they were the ones that I was trying to help out run sound equipment for and play with. And so I brought some musical instruments and things like that so we could fly them in. And I got to realize I spent the day, got up there the night before the actual, guess you'd say, concert, and spent the day out on the boat with a lot of these guys that had been out there for 4 or 5 days, whatever the amount was at the time, and got to seeing exactly what they were doing. And I thought that was just neat. They're trying to get an organization put together that shows veterans from across the country what Montana is all about, and put that into a method of healing for a lot of guys. And like we talked about the age thing, these guys were all right around my same age at the time. And so they were, we've been going now for 11 years. So they were a little spunkier back then. And I just thought it was neat that this is something I could enjoy doing. And it was kind of weird. And even though I didn't serve or anything like that, I put up with a dose of PTSD after I got out of the burn unit in Salt Lake. And I could relate to a lot of stuff, not in the same ways by any means, but I knew what they were talking about. And that made a huge difference in communication when you talk to somebody. And it was just a great group of guys. We still stay in contact, 11 years, may not have seen them since that trip, but a lot of them still stay in contact with us. So after that, I kind of got on board just asking to be a boat captain and help take these guys out. And for a couple years, I acted mainly like a first mate. I'd get on somebody else's boat and just run fishing gear or whatnot and help out as much as I could. And then I think it was 2019, fall of 2019, I got asked to join the board, and I accepted. And so they voted me in. And from there, it's just been a landslide. It's just been a neat deal to watch this whole organization change the way it did from the first day all the way to now. See the things that are going on.
Now you do, I went ahead for those who are watching. I put the link down below there, www.montanawarriorsonthewater.com. So if you are a veteran, go check it out. That's their webpage there. When you started this, how many veterans had you met that had never been fishing before?
Honestly, I can't say that we had any that hadn't been fishing before, but they were probably all bass fishermen from all over the U.S., of course, and ones that are actually from Montana. But they may not have went after the specific fish that we had at Fort Peck and things like that. And they all had a little bit of background. In fact, I think that's kind of what drives them more towards our organization is they fish. They just want to take it to the next level and see some other country and see some different breeds of fish, I guess. And
What kind of fish do they primarily like to fish for when you guys are out?
I'd say the biggest thing most of them want to target, and we kind of overemphasize in a way, is walleye. There's going to be some bass guys watching this that are going to give me a call later. But walleye, northern pike, bass. Those are probably the three main ones. We've kind of moved a lot of stuff over more towards the Fort Peck Dam area, and as we get over there, then we're starting to target more king salmon and lake trout, things like that. So
yeah, and I've been up to Hell Creek once. We generally had fished Crooked Creek. So Fort Peck, for those of you who don't know, that's a man-made lake.
Yep.
Reservoir.
Back in the dirty 30s, FDR kind of came up with the idea of building this to basically help a lot of the jobless individuals in our state. And so there's quite a few of us up here that had relatives that worked on the dam. It's a real interesting story overall.
Yeah, exactly. And I have to say, my favorite fish to catch are the northern pikes. And one, they can get really large, but two, they're a really firm fish in comparison to most. And so you can do, I mean, I could take a northern and I could deep fry it, I could pan fry it, I could, saute it. There's so many different things that, you could do with them, and they really do hold firm. And I know there's a lot of people that really like bass, a lot of people that really like walleye. But for me, it's always been the northern pikes. Those are my favorite. And catfish, I know everybody calls catfish a trash fish, but catfish was the other, would come in second as far as the firmness of the fish.
Yeah, my best friend always said that we were bottom feeders because I'm a fan of catfish too. So
well, then you come south and everybody's a fan of catfish. So I don't know what that says about the rest of the South, but yeah, I get that. So not only do you do fishing, but you also do some other activities, outdoor activities with veterans too. Is that correct?
Yeah, we the whole, like, we do a few different events a year as far as outdoor excursions, but the main one, we try to make it a full week basically of all different sorts of things. Now we've kind of included a trip to the Range Riders Museum in Miles City.
Nice.
They really enjoy that. I mean, it's key element when it comes to showing people the Old West.
Yeah,
and then we do a lot of stuff. Clayton Phipps, you might have seen him on the Discovery Channel, Dino Hunters. He had his own show a few years. He's a friend of mine. He usually comes over and talks to the vets and speaks a bit about the history of Hell Creek. It's kind of the gold mine of the U.S. when it comes to dinosaurs, and specifically Tyrannosaurus Rex. So he's a pretty fun one to get. It surprised me, actually. A lot of the guys we've had on the trip watched him religiously on TV, so they really got a kick out of that. Sometimes we get a chance to take tours of other things when we're up there, depending on the time limits and stuff and working with logistics. But yeah, there's so much history around them all the time. We do lure building one night. We try to do something different every night. We'll have a cornhole tournament,
nice.
Things like that. But yeah, it's nonstop for the most part. And when I say nonstop, I never try to drive anybody away. It's still all about relaxing. We never push anybody to the limit.
So Michael says, "Great job, Billy," and then he says, "I'm still a bigger deal, though."
Yeah, that would be the guy I told you about. That I consider him my sergeant at arms. We make a lot of biker club jokes, and
nice.
He's a member of the board.
And we have DeReal Shady Brady. What an inspiring man you are, Billy.
That's a son. That doesn't count.
Oh, it always counts, especially from the kids. Let's see. Good job, Billy. MTWOW is the highlight of my year. That's excellent.
And that would be the gentleman that's going to call me later about the bass fishing.
Well, I definitely, Dominic, wish you the best of luck, because I love fishing in Montana, and there's so many different ways to fish. So it's incredibly fun to learn the different ways. I mean, it's so different from Montana to, say, Tennessee fishing.
It is, we've taken the chance to let the guys on our boats kind of show us how they fish here and there, and I mean, the mentality is the same, but there's so many different methods for different fish that it's unbelievable. And you grow up in one region, you just think everybody uses the same styles. You've got 6 or 7 to choose from, basics, and you find out, no, they do it way different where they come from.
Yeah. Michelle Gibbs says, congratulations, cousin Billy. You're a rock star always. So you also do hunting. Is that correct? You'll do hunting with veterans on occasion?
Yep. We got plenty of board members and volunteers that are willing to take people out, and a lot of times we might do it on our own. But we do have one specific hunt that we do following the main season every year, and it's a cow hunt. And one of our board members, and he was kind of one of the founding guys, John Morford, him and my vice executive director have some land by Big Timber that actually one of our vets that we had on one of the first couple trips owns the ranch, and he's leasing out the hunting and giving us the opportunity to go in there and take some vets hunting. So we take 4 to 5 guys, or when I say guys, I mean guys or gals,
Right.
elk cow hunting every year on the ranch, and it's really fun. And a lot of these people have never had the ability or the luck of actually harvesting a cow elk, so it's fun to watch. And I've always got a kick out of taking kids hunting, and honestly, in those situations you get the same experience when they get something. It's just like a little kid that finally got something.
Exactly. My husband was a hunter education instructor for several years, and so he would teach the kids, proper shooting and how to handle firearms and such, and absolutely loved it, and loved taking the kids out, and especially ours as well when they were little, taking them out for their first hunts. And but if you haven't tried elk, to me it's right up there, if not better, in my opinion, which doesn't necessarily count for anything, better than steak. I mean, it's a super lean meat and really flavorful.
Yep, and it's a good opportunity because we are still a Montana-based organization, so these are smaller excursions in the big picture. So it gives us more of an opportunity to take more local people out, and with all their licensings and restrictions, regulations with the fishing game, it's a little easier to be able to take those ones out.
So let me see if I can pull up. I've got your website up, so let's bring that up and take a look at that. Hang on one second. Can you see it? Nope. Hang on. Let's present, add to stage. There we go. All right. So now, if somebody wanted to donate to help continue to fund these trips with veterans, what is the best way to go about doing that?
Well, you see up there on the top of the page, there's help support, I believe it says.
Let's see here.
There's a support and then how to support.
Ways to support.
Ways to support.
There we
And
go.
that'll kind of give a basic idea, and it gives you a copy of one of our forums of what we offer for sponsorships. We've got different tier levels for it. We also, at the bottom of that, have an area where maybe you just want to make a donation. It's a pretty simple deal to fill out, but all in all, messaging us on Facebook if you have something to donate, that works too. That's a little faster plan. And like right now, we are getting ready for our big event that'll happen the 25th of July in Fort Peck at the marina. And we're on a big push to get or not raffle items, but donation items for the auction and live auction. And so this is the time of the year where we're really campaigning for that. And this, like I said, it's our biggest fundraiser. So what we make off of it is kind of the prime deal when it comes to doing what we do.
Yeah, it is it's amazing what you do. And I think just getting our veterans, getting them out of their own heads, and getting them with like-minded people and being able to share their stories, the camaraderie between veterans and doing something like this is just an incredible thing to do. And, kudos to you, especially for taking your time out and doing something for veterans when you yourself are not one, I think is just an amazing thing. And so your next one, you said the fishing tour, is this it here, July?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And so all our vets are already picked, and we're working on travel arrangements and getting everything honed in and starting the plan as far as how things are going to roll. So that'll all start. I believe it's the 19th. I think is that Saturday in July, and that's when we'll start retrieving them from the airport.
Okay.
And get them in. So it's not too far off. It's going to happen a little quicker than
it's going to
from a business end anyway.
it's going to go pretty quick, but I bet they're all really super excited. So when you look at this, so the annual Rock Creek Women's Retreat the applications are already closed, so you've got that filled up. And then the Veterans Cow Elk Hunt. So you're not sure when that's going to start?
We probably just need to do a little updating on the page. Usually we're waiting on verification from Fish and Game as to what the seasons are going to be. And usually how it rolls is we've got a shoulder season following the main season. And that always ends up being main season will close the Sunday after Thanksgiving. And then we will actually be preparing that Sunday in Big Timber. And then the hunt will actually start on that Monday. So we'll start getting the vets in and getting them in their quarters that Sunday.
Yeah, it's for those of you who have not, if you like hunting big game, cow, elk, they're amazing. Elk in general. I've never gotten a bull elk, but I have gotten 2 cow elk. And I had one, it was super fast. And I almost bet the gentleman, well, he almost bet me that I actually didn't hit her. One shot, he had me kind of army crawl to the edge of the ridge, and he owned the land out there. He had several thousand acres. He had a house, beautiful home, and like at the very top, it was, think of a turret, right? But just kind of glass, so he could see the entire area. And I had won an elk hunt raffle, and
nice.
Yeah, I was super thrilled. So I went with my husband, and he had his manager there to take us out hunting. My husband was there, as a pack mule. But so we're out there and it's so windy. And the owner happened to be there, and he owned a game preserve also in Africa.
Oh, yeah.
So he he happened to be on his ranch, and so he's calling his land manager, and he's like, hey, there's one over at I don't know, well 3 or something, there's a bunch of them. So here we are, we're racing over there, and we get down there and they're not there anymore. And come noontime, I mean, it is so windy. And so he says, just come on back to the house. And so we get back, and he's like, look, he starts, good naturing, but giving the land manager, giving him some grief, going, what do I have to do? Tie a pink bow around her hind quarter so you can find her? So he said, you can come out the following weekend. He felt bad. And I was like, that would be great. My husband's like, well, but I won't be around. So I ended up taking my father-in-law with me. And from the house, just out like the side of the house, not very far at all, there was a pretty steep hill. So he just started going up the hill. So we're following, my father-in-law and I, and we get up to the top of the hill, and he's glassing on the other side, and he sees some cow elk. And so, as I said, we army crawl to the end of that ridge, and he tells me which one he wants me to shoot, and the lead cow. And I was like, okay. And then he's like, well, do you need a rifle rest? And I thought maybe he had like a bipod or something on him. And I was like, well, yeah, if you've got one, that'd be great. So he kind of scurries around and comes back with half a dead fall tree for my rifle rest. And he's like, okay, when you're ready. And he's glassing them. And so I just take a nice deep breath, and I pull the trigger, and she rears up and then comes back down, spins around facing the backwards, and runs into the forested area. And like 30 seconds later, out come like 50 of them going the way she originally was facing. And he's like, you missed. And I said, I did not miss. And he goes, well, I didn't hear impact. And my father-in-law was like, yeah, I didn't hear impact either. I said, I did not miss. And so the owner says, well, I'll go get my pickup. You and your father-in-law walk down the ridge and see if you can find any signs of her. And he goes, and I'll meet you down there. And I was like, okay. So we walked down, and sure enough, there's signs that I had hit her. And he kind of goes along with this little coulee, and he kind of is waving, his windows rolled down, and he's waving for us to go over there. And there she is, kind of behind this little hill just before this little coulee, and just one shot. And he goes, I almost bet my whole ranch you did not hit her. I was like, yeah. And she was pretty decent size, so it was great. And I don't shoot something that I'm not going to eat. And elk is one of those that we absolutely love. And, growing up in Montana, my kids growing up in Montana, my husband as well, it's great to have food in the freezer, and you don't have to stress about that kind of stuff, because it's not easy getting things into Montana without paying the price, right?
And definitely.
Because a lot of times they just don't have a return via a return trip, or load to go back to wherever. So prices are pretty high in Montana, and that's generally the reason. So so you have all of this coming up, the elk hunts, etc. Now, the best way for them to get a hold of you for our veterans, they need to make sure that they've got their DD-214 available to provide to you as well.
Yep.
For the most part.
Yep. And
We definitely want to see some proof of military background, and that's a huge role in when we do the voting process. And so when we pick our vets, is looking at their military career. We look at several different items, but that's definitely number one.
And how, if you had to guess, how many annually do you think would you get for applications from veterans?
So all of our stuff, we're we're probably 150 or
Wow.
for counting all together. It's
Right. Right. So any last things that you want to say to anybody listening who's a veteran who may be interested but maybe on the fence about joining, putting an application in?
I guess the biggest thing that I would say to anybody, and I mean, I've got two or three friends, one specifically that I bug every year. He was served in the army, did 20 years, retired, highly decorated, and I want him to come on this trip. And even though it's in an area where he grew up already, he's very deserving of it. But honestly, most of the people that should be on this trip are the ones that claim I don't deserve this trip.
Right.
Or there's other ones that need it worse than me. And if you're the one thinking that, you're probably the one that needs to try applying for the trip. It's meant for you. It's not just about fishing. The biggest thing when it comes to Montana Warriors on the Water, the number one word that keeps being brought up is camaraderie. These guys are missing the camaraderie when it comes to the military. We had a gentleman a few years ago that kind of summed it up for me, and a modern warfare aspect, I guess, is back in the days of World War II, Korea, things like that. When you were done in battle, there was time before you got on the plane and the fly back. You usually had 100 of your friends or military family with you on the plane when you flew back, and you had 12 to 14 hours to talk about what you dealt with back then.
Right.
And nowadays, you may be in battle one day, and the next morning you're getting on a plane heading for the States by yourself, and back in civilian life just instantly. And that's something that really affects a lot of them, I think. So it's the biggest thing is trust us, I guess. Come out, catch some fish, have a good week. It's a blast. Something I didn't mention earlier too was that we also offer a range shoot kind of towards the tail end of it.
Okay.
And we've got a couple gentlemen that are just great with firearms, and they've got a large array of some of the guns that these guys probably fired in the military, but are not necessarily civilian okay, I guess you'd say. And so they take these guys out to the range, and it's amazing what they do with these guns. You've been in Montana long enough, fire, things like that is always a concern when it comes to anything you do. And one of these guys has 22 caliber guns that'll still clink at a mile. And it just amazes me what these guys do. And so they'll go out in the tent and shoot all day after we deliver them in boats, and then they'll come back into the hotel and we'll carry on with everything over in Fort Peck. But
yeah. So at the end of these trips, what is the general conversation that happens with these veterans and yourself? What do they have to say about them?
I guess I would put it more in a way like part of my opening speech when they all show up is, you may not know me right now, but by the end of the week, we will be family. And they're all hesitant to say something after that, but I've had several of them at the end of the week come up and say, I can't believe it. I feel like I've known you for years and years, and we will be calling you and whatever. And they just totally different attitude by the time they leave. They've had some fun. They're tired. I mean, like I said, we'll cater to those that need some relaxation for sure, but most of these guys are just gung-ho to get out and do everything that we do. And so when they're flying out the following Sunday, they're ready for a nap.
They fly on the plane. So I mean, and they're coming in from all over the country, is that right?
Yep. It's like, I don't think that we have missed a state yet. We've even in fact, one of our volunteers, he was in Puerto Rico, and he comes back every couple years and helps out. And I think maybe Hawaii. I know there's a few guys stationed over there, but
yeah, there is quite a few actually. Yeah. Well, I am just super excited for what is to come for you. Excuse me, and Montana Warriors on the Water. And the next time we're there, we'll have to at least, get in contact with each other. Miles City is not that far from the family there. So, hour and a half, something like that.
Yeah, no, that would be enjoyable.
Yeah. And just, for anyone, like I said, interested, go out, check them out. And it's an absolute great organization. It is a nonprofit 501c3. And so if you're a veteran, I don't think you're going to be disappointed at all. And let's see, what else do we have? If there are any veterans that are watching or in the chats, please, if you're interested in being a guest on my channel and coming on and telling your story, you can contact me at conversationsyvette@gmail.com and let me know, and we will look to get you scheduled. I'd love to have a conversation with each and every veteran that's out there. So
did you hear that, Michael Colseth? You're a big deal. You better get on here.
Yes, you make sure you message me again, conversationswithavet@gmail.com. And Billy, it's been an absolute pleasure. I do wish you the best. And as you get to your new, each new season of the trips that you have, let me know. I'll be happy to put it out there. If, you need some additional applications or something, I'll throw it out there. I'm happy to help. So we want you to succeed. We want our, the veterans to be able to come out and have some, time with other veterans and just enjoy the outdoors. So thank you for what you're doing. Thank you, Montana Warriors on the Water, for what you're doing as well. And I wish you all the very best of luck.
Well, thank you for having me on the show.
It's been my pleasure. Billy, if you want to, hang tight for me for just a minute, I'm going to go ahead and get things wrapped up.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.